Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are Mira Kim and Carrie Boshton, continuing our parade of people in studio for the first time in a year and a half. It's so great to see your faces, all of them.
I brought all of my faces with me today.
Yeah. Thank you for.
I even shaved for the occasion.
Thank you for bringing your entire face. And Red Cedar, you kept extraordinarily busy through the pandemic because you were one of the leading organizations who figured out early on how to bring streaming programs into all of our living rooms. So thank you again for that. Oh. But what a relief to finally get back to. And I know you did some in-person shows over the summer, but this kind of feels like now we're back to the way things ought to be.
Well, in a lot of our venues, we couldn't approach, last year at all. And this weekend, we're doing like 4 different Lynn County libraries, and it's great to be in these places, for live audience, and people are so excited to be back in their community centers.
The current program is Licorice Schtick. I love that, Licorice Schtick. Of course, it's the clarinet. Any jazz person knows that the clarinet is sometimes called the licorice stick, and you've got the great Christine Bellomy as one of your guest artists, and it doesn't. The Licorice Stick doesn't get any better than that.
No, she's got the shtick down. We started with actually a piece by Jerry Owen as the first little kernel of an idea. We wanted to add a viola to our trio. So this program is clarinet, violin, viola, and cello. And we had done 2 previous programs with Christine without the viola. So this really opened up a lot of repertoire. And in thinking about what we would want to play, I remembered this great piece by Jerry Owen, Cedar Rapids composer, very, very well-known and regarded composer. And he had written Licorice Brittle originally for clarinet and piano. He wrote it for Bill Carson at Coe College and premiered it with Jerry on the piano in 1994. At any rate, Christine, I don't know how many years later, Jerry was producing recordings of a lot of his works, and I recorded something for it, and Christine recorded this piece with Rainey Laquona, and it's a phenomenal recording. It's such a fun piece, and so I asked Jerry, can you, what do you think? Would it work for clarinet quartet? And he said, sure. And so here we are. That was the beginning and the title of the program.
Okay, yes. Well, and of course we have Bill Carson's. Laura Carson is behind the camera. You can't see her, but she is smiling widely, remembering the original piece that was written for Bill. So it's all current composers, Mira, and 2 or 3 you have who are Iowans.
Well, there's, of course, Jerry Owen, and then Michael Kimber, our composer in residence, is also an Iowan. And then we're rounding out the program with works by Jeff Smallman, Gwyneth Walker, and Natalie Hunt. I wanted to say a little something about the Licorice Brittle piece by Owen. Working with living composers, it gives us this flexibility. We think so often, especially in the classical music tradition, when we study a work by Beethoven, we're analyzing every dot and every dynamic, and as we should, and that is a wonderful thing. But at the same time, when those composers were employed by their patrons, whether it be a king or an archduke or someone, it wasn't as if they just said, I've got this, divine inspiration, and I must go write it down, and this is what it is.
You must play it like this and never change a note.
Right.
Ever.
They often were writing for instrumentation of what was available in the court, or if the patron had a certain affinity, like played the viola and really wanted to play some pieces, some chamber music as a violist. Okay, so some trios with an easy viola part, or whatever it might be. And so with Jerry being willing to change this piano part to a string trio part, we were really grateful to him. And it's given the piece a different dimension, I would say.
Absolutely. And it's different, but it's very effective. And it's a lot of fun. the interesting thing is that, like, Beethoven, this is how he made his money, is he would write a composition for specific instrumentation and specific people, then he would arrange it for many, many different combinations so he could sell more music.
Different checks.
Yeah.
Two different, a check each time.
So at any rate,
well, they probably not checks back in those days. But
Jerry was our first composer in residence, by the way. Michael is our sixth, and we didn't quite know what the next step was, to commission Michael to write something. We didn't quite know what to do, but about 10 years ago, Mira and I were guest artists with Red Cedar. Jan and John were there, and Marita Murphy-Mead, who was the longtime clarinet professor at University of Iowa and Christine's teacher, she played a program with us, and we did some choros, which is the Brazilian popular music, and Marita had really studied this, and standard dance music or ballad forms, and then she would improvise. And so I had the idea for Michael to check out some choros, maybe arrange some, maybe compose something new, maybe just use it as a jumping off point, because we wanted to have something really fun on the program. So Michael, checked it out and did some research and decided that he would write these little chorinhos for little Brazilian birds. And he's quite an environmentalist, and these 4 Brazilian songbirds are all endangered. And so Michael dedicated each of 4 movements to one of the songbirds. They're charming pieces. There's 3 pretty up-tempo ones and 1 ballad, which is just
gets me every time.
I mean,
Yeah.
Gosh, so it's great stuff. And the thing about the programs is we didn't really set out to do 5 living composers or only living composers. We didn't set out to have 2 women composers on the program. We just started with that kernel of an idea, and then as we looked at what was available, we found 5 pieces, incredibly different styles. And that's the thing, it's the instrumentation stays the same. These composers have such different styles and use the instrumentation so differently. And it's fascinating, and like we just feel so lucky to be presenting these 5 different works to the audience. And I think it's great. It's all great music, and wow, living composers.
mention the other 3 while we're talking about
Oh,
the
yes,
composers.
we're playing A Cup of Rejoicing by Gwyneth Walker. She's now retired in Connecticut.
Yep.
She was on the faculty of Oberlin for a long time and actually retired from that position to devote more time to composition. And then Jeff Smallman is a Canadian. He wrote a very lovely 3-movement work that has these lush sonorities and this very blended sound.
And it has this great viola part, and our violist.
Yeah,
is
we should
Elizabeth-
mention the great
Oakes.
Elizabeth Oakes.
She's the director of the University of Iowa String Quartet residency program and coaches the chamber music at the university. She's super busy, and she had 2 kids in college now. She just now has an empty nest. So we're just thrilled that she's
And of course,
got
long
time to hang out with us.
Yeah, and longtime fans will remember her from the Maya Quartet, which was the quartet in residence at
Sure.
the university for many years.
But the Smallman has this viola part, which is just incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, and then to me, the most intriguing work on the program is by Natalie Hunt. She's relatively young, around 30. She lives in New Zealand, and she wrote this 2-movement work, which she was commissioned to write this in 2007, and she started a piece, and then an earthquake hit New Zealand, and she was so devastated by it and what it meant for people and the country that she rewrote the piece with that inspiration. So you start with this calmness, and then we get into this earthquake or storm feeling, and then there's sort of this aftermath. And she introduces a lot of extended techniques on the instruments. So, for instance, at one point, Carrie has a paper clip.
A bobby pin.
Oh,
I
bobby
put
pin,
a
yeah.
bobby pin across my strings, and
So when he plucks the string, it makes this very rattly,
Dark.
disturbing noise.
Is that in the score? Does it say
is,
it
yeah.
say put bobby pin here?
bobby pins.
Yes.
Place a bobby pin on the A, D, and G strings, and And of course I had to do a lot of bobby pin research to get it.
I bought a lot of bobby pins, different sizes, different styles.
You can't go out of the house without a spare bobby pin.
Well, you can hear the fruits of all of this bobby pin research at Licorice Schtick, which is, I know you did a couple
We did
of
three,
concerts
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago, but now you've got the main bunch here coming up in libraries all around the area. So briefly mention the communities where you'll be in, and then the two kind of main shows in Cedar Rapids
So
and Iowa City.
we're actually playing tomorrow, Wednesday, October 13th, at the Iowa City Music Study Club, and that'll be great. Centerpoint Library Thursday evening, Fairfax Library Friday evening, that's the 15th, and then on the 16th, Saturday, we play at Lisbon Library and Hiawatha, 11 and 3. So that's a daily double. And then the following week we are playing at Cornell College on their concert series on Monday evening.
Oh, the Monday Music Series still going. That's been going on for decades.
Yeah, Joe Deeker just put this great program together. It's eclectic. It's really thoughtful. So we're thrilled to be on that. Let's see. We are also playing a couple of senior living communities, and then we have our main stage concerts on Saturday, October 23rd at First Presbyterian in Cedar Rapids, and Sunday, October 24th, 3 p.m. at Congregational United Church Congregational Church in Iowa City. And that we will live stream, because we really are committed to continuing to live stream at least one performance of these programs.
And
there's still a lot of people that are not going out.
Yeah, and the link and a program can be found on our website. Just shows up on the homepage, performance schedule. Click on that and it'll take you.
So a raft of performances as we kind of return to normalcy where that's concerned. That's so great. And then the usual main concerts in Cedar Rapids on the Saturday night and in Iowa City on the Sunday, and the live stream. That's great. I'm so glad that you're continuing that. Of course, you bought all the stuff.
Yeah, I've got all the stuff.
Yeah, so might as well keep using it, right?
Yep.
And if people want more information or to buy tickets, they can go to your website, which is
www.redcedar.org.
Yeah, and actually all the performances will be free except for the final main stage concerts, and those tickets can be purchased at the door.
Okay, excellent. All right. Again, it's redcedar.org for more information. And it's so great to see you in person, and good luck with the remainder of the shows. And we'll talk again in a couple of months when it's time for the next round.
Yeah, thanks.
Sounds
Dennis.
great. Thank you so much.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio many weekdays at 10:20, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture, or however you get your podcasts. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.